the PNN, the Filipino News Network. Last Thursday, PA had a special guest speaker for its second general meeting, Boxed In, Boxed Out. Terry Bautista, UCB alumnus and former PA member, presented her project about the past 100 years of Filipino-American history. PA members listened as she spoke about an 18-year-old artifact, a 32-inch banner that was on display at the Alumni House. This was during the same time when the organization, the Filipino Civil Rights Advocates, was launched. Halfway through the event, the building's fire alarm unexpectedly brought the meeting to a halt. However, the PA members didn't allow that to completely stop them. After moving the location to the Senate Lounge in Eshelman, the meeting continued as planned. The night ended with a discussion on environmental discrimination and its effects on health and society. Now let's go to component interviews with Justin out of the field. To you, Justin.
Thanks, Andrick. We're currently here in Barrows Hall, seeing how the cast members are faring with PCN. I'm here with assistant producer Jashley Paggio. Jashley, what is your story?
So basically, right now my life is PCN. We go to all casts, we go to production committee meetings, we go to our individual practices. Yep, it's PCN season.
It's a good answer, Jashley. What are you looking forward to most in PCN?
For me, I guess because as assistant producer, you're involved with all the different components. Let's see, I think I'm most excited about seeing the production on stage because yes, we do see the integration during all casts, but I think it's totally different when you have the stage, when you have the costumes, the lighting, and the props. So once it's there you go, that's the show.
Very interesting. And last question, will you be ready for PCN by the time it comes?
Honestly, I believe so, because today is the last day before, it's the last all cast before spring break, and we set a goal to ourselves that, hey, we will finish the show by today. And you know what? It looks like we are finishing the show, and we just need to fix a little kinks in the show, but other than that, for the most part, we're ready.
All right, thank you for answering questions, Jashley. Back to you in the studio.
Now let's go back to the cast members and see what their pamana is.
Okay, so first question, what does ang ating pamana mean to you?
Ang ating pamana. So in all the PCN all casts and meetings and such, they've always said ang ating pamana is our legacy, our heritage. It's what came before us and made us who we are today, and it's also what we can pass on to the future. And all of that is awesome. All of that is true, and it resonates with me. But I feel even deeper than that is really that ang ating pamana is a sense of who we are, not only as individuals, but also as a community. I mean, each one of us, we have our own communities, our own lifestyles that we come from. And we also have our own potential to make a difference in the world, our own potential to do something individual for the future. And then when you put this all together, you find that there's also these commonalities, these different stories that in a way they all come together and make a distinctly Filipino history, heritage. So where everyone comes from, that kind of it comes together and it really says who we are as a Filipino and as a citizen of the world. And it also shows us where our responsibilities lie in this citizenship. Not only what can we give to our descendants, not only what can we give to the Filipino community, but what we can give to the world. And I think pamana, it's in short, it really is like a Filipino twist to what it means to be someone involved in humanity.
What do you feel, object, permanent or not, represents your pamana, represents your legacy?
Well, like I said, kind of each individual is their own sort of pamana, but I think for me, right now, is me being here at Berkeley. I feel like that really is one of my most important forms of pamana. I mean, all of my parents' sacrifices, all of their hard work, even right now, they're sacrificing, they're putting in their all just to see me go to Berkeley, receive this education, and really, be empowered to do something in the world. And that's kind of their pamana too. I mean, that's what they're passing on to me. And I really appreciate that they did all that work just to put me in this space. And for me, Berkeley has done so much. I've like kind of rediscovered who I am as a Filipino, and also in the context of who I am as an individual. And it's been a true blessing to just be able to connect with all these different communities, which I always told myself I was a part of, but I never really felt it until I came here to Berkeley. And it's just amazing how all these different types of people, all these different experiences can kind of contribute to who I am and help me grow into someone that can, like I said, contribute to the Filipino community and contribute to the world in general. I think a really interesting case of this is actually during all casts, just watching the traditional dance practices. It's just like somehow just resonated with me, and I think that is really exemplary of just kind of what all the different experiences here at Berkeley do to me, where I'm just able to connect with what came before and be able to internalize it and bring it forth into the future. So really, Berkeley is the focal point of my pamana, but I know for sure my pamana will grow and will continue just as it always has been.
What does ang ating pamana mean to you?
So basically, literally, it translates to our legacy, but then at the same time, I remember when we were coming up with this theme, it was hard to put it for a literal Tagalog to English translation because pamana is something that has its own like emotion tied to it. So basically, it's more than just an heirloom, but it implies that it's something that comes from that's a part of your ancestors or whoever you receive it from. And to me, that just speaks a lot to the things that we're sharing in PCN because the whole thing is our legacy, not just one person's legacy, it's a collective legacy. So that implies that we're not just passing on something and handing it off, it implies that we're adding on to it and it's growing as it goes along, or it's changing. And to me, that's really cool because this year's PCN is just a lot of stories put together and from different perspectives of the community, and that's, I think, what makes it really unique for this PCN.
Okay, and for question 2, what's something that represents your legacy, your pamana?
So for me, the most important pamana that I receive, I think, is the Filipino, the Tagalog language, and that's something. I know it's something intangible, and that's not traditionally what a pamana is supposed to be. But I feel like it's something. It's basically the best thing that my parents and my grandparents could have given to me because it's unlike an object like a ring or something. My language, I can never lose it. Obviously, if I keep trying to speak, but I think, and I'm really thankful for my parents that they saw this ahead of time, that when we moved to America, they made it adamant that I speak Tagalog at home just because they know how easy it is I can forget at a young age. So I'm really thankful, and I think it's really cool because it's something not just from them and not just inherent in our family, but the entire Filipino culture revolves around our language. So it's kind of something that dates back all the way back when the language was formed. So.
First question, what does ang ating pamana mean to you?
So to me, ang ating pamana means my parents' sacrifices, because it's through their hard work and their sacrifices and their dedication to me that I was able to have the opportunity to study, to work hard, to go to Cal, and to graduate as well.
Second question will be, what's something that represents your heritage, your pamana?
So for me, the thing that represents my heritage or my pamana is my acceptance letter to Cal. Both my parents have raised me to be a hardworking person, to try as hard as I can, and their grandparents, they pass on the same thing to me, always work hard, study, so you can go to college, so you can get a job. So when I finally got my acceptance letter to Cal was my #1 school at the time, or my #1 choice in high school, then it was just like a combination of both my hard work and my parents' sacrifices. So to me, every time I look at my offer letter to Cal, it reminds me of how my parents helped me get here, and then that's my pamana. That's my representation of my pamana and my heritage.
Now it's time for a few important announcements. PCN bill passed in Senate last week, thanks to all who came out to support. PCN is less than a month away, and PA elections will open after spring break. Stay tuned. That's the end of our program. See you next time.